Hi there, welcome back to our 10 minutes of RGM episodes on LinkedIn for Visual Fabric. I'm very happy here to have Marcelle Cruz with us today from PepsiCo. So, hi, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much for the invitation. Really, I am so glad to be here, to be part of the 10 minutes, right? Session, right? I work for now in PepsiCo, responsible the RGM capabilities across Latin America.
As you are responsible for RGM in Latin America, over the next 12 months, which RGM trends will matter most for your business? And where will you focus your team's efforts?
Actually, because my focus is still capabilities, we start our journey, I don't know, maybe 3 years, long 3 years ago. And now, for me, the focus will be to connect the end-to-end process across the organization. Why? Because actually, the right gap or the real gap that we have right now is how we broke the silos, broke the fragmented decision making across the company to connect the entire ecosystem. That will be my focus because this really help to execute with excellence, no matter which one is the circumstance you have in the market, because we have a volatile environment for now with all the influence that we have with the worms, with the geopolitical situation, right? So, but if you have a strong end-to-end process and the organization is prepared to make a decision connected across the system, no matter what happens, they can react in the right way.
Yeah, I understand. Working in this whole process, you enable people to flourish, to contribute, and you make sure that you are all on a one number principle. You have the same goals. What would you say for you is the biggest challenge there right now?
The biggest challenge is how the people is not distracted with all the things or the stuff you have outside. How you maintain connected and follow the end-to-end process, because the people responsible to integrate the new insight, the new variable, the new system, that people is working, the rest of the teams only needs to follow the process, right? But this one for me is the main challenge, how you continue concentrated, connected, and not distracted with all the things that you have outside.
In terms of that focus, and also I think in general, people's capabilities, people's knowledge, which RGM capability has become essential for your team? And maybe that's something that you weren't prioritizing 2 or 3 years ago.
Actually, for me, the most important skills in my people right now is translation. What exactly means is how they can translate the complexity into simple actions and initiatives the rest of the organization can execute. For me, that is the most important right now, because maybe all the people that you have in the back end try to organize all the information, all the new insight and variables on how you identify which one is the new opportunities that you are having in the market, require knowledge and expertise, right? Maybe you have the right people, maybe you have the right technology to transform that in scenarios, what if or something like this. But how after that complex process you translate this one in key simple actions to the rest of the organization, and they transform this in execution in the market, for me is the most important soft skills my teams needs to have right now.
From that perspective, where do you see RGM helping to solve internal misalignments, in particular between areas like sales, finance, supply chain?
I remember when I started my career in RGM, especially in capabilities, the focus on all the energy was to create and building complex algorithms and technology and solutions, and yeah, which one is the best dashboard if you are needs to use React or Power BI. No, the key of the success that is there, right? Of course you need technology. You of course you need some enablers to potential the impact of that process. Now, at least I don't know, the last 5 years ago, I understood the key of the success was to prepare the people, and after to prepare the organization to the end-to-end process. What's required? Different profiles in RGM. You don't need more only technical profiles, right? You need a real translation, a real translator of the business strategy. You need people understand the entire business and how they can influence the rest of the areas. Which one is difficult if you don't have this profile, if you are not connected the end-to-end process? It's impossible to do that. Which one is the main challenge that you have today? Is how you move the organization to fragmented pieces, to fragmented areas, or areas working in silos, to move to the entire connected making decision system. And that's vision, in my opinion. RGM needs to be a very principal role, like an engine of all the new ecosystem.
This is really interesting to hear. Also, the way you think about AI. AI shouldn't fix errors in your basic setup. It should enrich what's already there. And your story is much the same. You should have the right people with the right knowledge, with the right process, with the right tools and the right data. And then you can continue. I totally agree on that. As we are touching on something that's quite forward-looking, for example, AI, if you had to make one bold prediction about RGM 5 years from now, what would it be and why?
For me, it will be transform RGM, not a function, and that's engine inside the organization. What you need is to connect it, to broken the silos, right? For me, that is the prediction. In how, if you really have the right technology to enable the process, if you have the right team members and the entire organization, and everyone knows what exactly they needs to do, you potential to connect it a continuity cycle, right? What happened right now? You have a periodic cycle related with IBP process, forecasting, I don't know, promotions, pricing, or incentive, or whatever, but it's periodic, right? What will happen in the future if you connect the entire system to the right people, the right process, and the right technology, and use on top of all of this the AI? You will have a continuous cycle: learning, planning, executing, and learning again, and feedback. That for me, that is that we needs to happen in the future.
Yes, agreed. It should be continuous. It should be always on. And you should take it from, again, what you said earlier, RGM is not a function, but it's a mindset. If you have that mindset in your organization and people are constantly thinking about how they can grow revenue in line with your strategic targets, then yeah, you have established what you're describing here. What's the one lesson that you learned early on in your career that still shapes your RGM approach today?
I remember the most important thing when you are trying to hire someone, and RGM was related with the technical skills they had. No, now that is not true. That is, for me, is the most important right now. How you combine, you have the hybrid thinker. Actually I call it that this kind of profile. This, yes, is the hard lesson was is not about technology. It's about people. It's about process. It's about change management. It's about transformation, organization behind people, right? For me, it's the most important lesson I learned in my career.
Your entire angle and everything you tell here, it's so inspirational to take it from a process, from a tool towards getting the best out of the people you work with, basically, and enabling them to really contribute to the company's goal. I really loved hearing your angle on this. And it's a really nice take on what RGM is. Now, if I were to ask you, who would you like to see in our next episode?
How another organization is trying to do that kind of transformation, because I know it's not Pepsi alone on this, right? Everybody is in the same page. How another organization is moving forward through this challenge, how they are transforming their profiles, are that moving this transformation inside the organization. For me, it would be amazing, because another very important lesson I learned in my career is how you need to be very aware about all the external perspective, because maybe mostly of the main great ideas not come internally, comes externally of your company.
Basically, stay curious and have a very broad perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think that's one of the best comments to end this conversation with. Thank you so much, Marcelle, for contributing to our 10 minutes of RGL. It's been a pleasure to listen to you.
The same. Thank you so much.